If you have come across prominent UFO evidence or have simply seen a UFO, there's a chance that the Man in Black will pay you a visit. They were popularized by the 1997 film Man in Black, starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, who depicted Man in Black as being cool and savvy and charismatic. But this contradicts real-life eyewitness testimonies who depict the real Man in Black as being unnaturally pasty white, have a monotone voice, their movements to be almost robotic, and have no traces of hair. They at times impersonate Air Force officials, other times they don't even attempt to identify themselves. It's highly suggested that these Men in Black might not even be humans, but aliens in disguise, trying to limit human knowledge of extraterrestrial life. In this video, I'll be discussing a meeting between a UFO researcher and a Man in Black that occurred in the 1970s. Dr. Herbert Hopkins, a 50-year-old doctor and hypnotist, was investigating an alleged UFO teleportation case in Maine. One evening, when his wife and children had gone out, leaving him alone, the telephone rang and a man identified himself as Vice President of the New Jersey UFO Research Organization asked if he might visit Dr. Hopkins that same evening to discuss certain details of the case. The doctor agreed. At the time, it seemed the natural thing to do. He went to the back door to switch on the light so that his visitor would be able to find his way from the driveway. But while he was there, he noticed the man already climbing the porch steps. Hopkins later recalls, "I saw no car, and even if he did have a car, he could not have possibly gotten to my house that quickly from any phone." But at the time, he had failed to realize this. The doctor found himself acting out of character, allowing a person into his house while he was alone, despite a history of crime in the area, failing to even ask for his name, but nevertheless listening without any fear. His dog reacted differently. As the man entered, the dog barked and uncharacteristically went to a corner of the living room with his tail between his legs. The man wore a white shirt and white gloves, but everything else, pants, jacket, tie, and shoes, were all black. He appeared not to fill out his sleeves or trousers. When he sat down, the crease on his pants remained sharp, even at his knees. As he took off his hat, it became apparent that he lacked both hair and eyebrows. His nose and small ears were set low, his chin receded, and his face was deadly white, except for a vivid red gash of a mouth. In the course of their conversation, he happened to brush his lips with his white gloves, and the doctor was astonished to see that his lips were smeared, and that the gloves were stained with what appeared to be lipstick. It was only afterwards, however, that Dr. Hopkins reflected further on the strangeness of his visitor's appearance and behavior. The man asked Hopkins several questions about the case he was working on, his experience with UFOs, and his overall thoughts on the phenomena. Apparently satisfied with the information gathered from Hopkins, the Man in Black changed the subject. He informed Hopkins that there were 2 coins in Hopkins' pockets, which was correct, and asked him to remove one. Hopkins complied and held out the coin, a shiny new penny in the palm of his hand. The MIB told Hopkins to watch the coin closely. After a few moments, the coin took on a silvery appearance and then appeared to be going out of focus. It began to fade and eventually disappear altogether. The MIB informed Hopkins that the coin would never be seen on this plane again. He then inquired as to whether Hopkins was familiar with alleged UFO abductee Barney Hill. Hopkins replied that he had heard of Hill, but was under the impression that he had died recently. The Man in Black informed Hopkins that that was correct. Barney didn't have a heart, he said, just like you no longer have a coin. The man then gently suggested that Hopkins destroy any material he had related to the main case, or else his wife might visit another plane soon. At this point, his speech started to slow down. Rising slowly and unsteadily to his feet, he said very slowly, "My energy is running low. Must go now. Goodbye." Clinging to the rail, he climbed down the stairs, first one foot on a step, then bringing the other one down next to it, rather than going one foot after another like any normal person. Dr. Hopkins saw a bright light shining up the driveway, brighter than the automobile headlight and bluish-white in color, although no light had been present when he had arrived. Rushing to the kitchen window, the doctor looked out and saw the man approach the light. He ran out onto the front porch but saw no evidence of a car leaving, or even the man. Hopkins sat down at the kitchen table to digest what he had just experienced. But before doing so, he pulled his gun out of a drawer just to be on the safe side. It didn't take him long to decide what he had to do. He went into the other room, gathered all the material from the main case, demagnetized the tapes, destroyed them, then for good measure burned them along with other documents related to the case. As for the New Jersey UFO Research Organization that the man claimed to be from, Hopkins found out that no such institution exists. Did Hopkins truly have a meeting with a man in black? Or did the stress of working the main case get to him and cause him to imagine all of that? We might never know. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to share it with your friends and family.